यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। There was a spiritual master and he had a doubt about the incarnation of Chaitanya. Is Chaitanya really avatar? He had this doubt in himself. So even his followers also had the same doubt. What he thought is that, okay, he's a spiritual master. If I go to his birthplace, if I visit his birthplace, then I will feel some divine vibrations there and I can understand, yes, he was the avatar or not. So regarding Chaitanya, he had that doubt and he went to Navadvip. He goes to Navadvip and there he visits the houses of senior Goswami, junior Goswami, all these places he visits. But after visiting all these places, he didn't feel any of this divine feeling that about the incarnation, which will prove that yes, Chaitanya was the incarnation. Then he feels, then really these Vaishnavas, they have made him an incarnation. He is not really an incarnation. And everywhere he sees that wooden statues. Just now you all sang, Tubahu Tuliya Anande Gahore. So with two hands lifted, there are different statues telling Haribol, Haribol like that. So but as soon as he was going to board the boat, just and there he sees two boys running and coming, and then he says, yes, there he comes, and they come and merge in his body. You know, this incident comes in Sri Ramakrishna's life. Sri Ramakrishna, when he had gone to Navadvip, he faces this incident. He had that doubt, is Chaitanya, because there is no information, no mention of Chaitanya as an incarnation in Bhagavad. So he had that doubt. But when he goes there and he sees these two, Chaitanya and Nityananda, coming and merging in his body, then his doubt goes and he sees, yes, incarnation. When we celebrate these birthday tithi pujas, direct disciples, Ramanuja, Madhva, Shankara, whatever you take up, our main goal is to reach the Ishta only, our chosen deity. And our chosen deity is Sri Ramakrishna. By any means to catch hold on to him. Just now we, when Maharaj was singing, you might have seen Radha, Krishna, Hari, Ram, Gopal, everything, and last Ramakrishna Sharana. So afterwards coming to our chosen deity, that is the goal. So when we discuss them, then we shall try to discuss the life and teachings in the light of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. And especially when we take up Chaitanya's life, then we see that really in each page of gospel, everywhere you find the reference of Chaitanya. Bhakti, Bhakti, Nama Sankirtana. And gospel in 7th March, I am not remembering the date correct, in 1885, Mahendranath Gupta himself asks that, he says, you are Jesus, you are Chaitanya, and all three, Sri Ramakrishna, all three are present in this body. And Sri Ramakrishna says, yes, yes. He supports it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in 1486. Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi. They had previously only daughters. So at last when a son was born, a lot of prayers. First the elder brother Vishwarupa, and then this actual name was Vishwambara, Nitai, Nimai, and then Gauranga because of his color, complexion. Very good looking. So because of his complexion they named him Gauranga. And the speciality of that is when Sri Ramakrishna again and again he says that see, whenever you find Chaitanya, that it goes to Nama Sankirtana. So from the childhood we find that if you take up the life of Swami Vivekananda, you take up the life of Sri Ramakrishna, childhood they will be very naughty. They are avatars, they are saints, but too good, goody we say, good for nothing, but not like that. Their childhood itself, they were very naughty, and Swamiji, he used to become so restless that they used to pour water and tell Shiva Shiva. Similarly, when in Chaitanya's life we find that when he used to become restless, then they used to pour water and tell Hari, Hari, Hari. And like that they used to calm down the kid. And it used to have a remarkable effect. Shachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra, they found one day that there were marks in the house, small footsteps, and in that a banner, a thunderbolt, a conch, discus and a petal. These are all of Vishnu's, you can understand. These marks they found on the floor. And they had a doubt how these marks came on the floor suddenly. One day Shachi was feeding the child with milk, and then she sees below her feet these marks are there. And when they meet the scholar, they show the astrologer, they found there were 32 such signs on the body of that young boy, and he was going to be a great saint. So like that he grows up, and when he was 10 years of age, then we find his elder brother leaving his house, leaving his family life and becoming ascetic, monastic life he takes up. And the fun in that is when he was leaving, he gives a book to his mother and says, when Nimai grows up, when he becomes adult, please give this book to him to read. Mother became very afraid because one son has already become a sannyasi. The other should not become. So she kept that book hidden so that that book doesn't come. He doesn't come in contact with that book. But God had his own plans. Ultimately, we know what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became. He left everything. Afterwards, his father passed away. Chaitanya's father, Gauranga's father passes away, and because father was the earning member, then their family goes into little problem. But Chaitanya was very intelligent. He was studying and he was going to school. He became afterwards he started his own one school, Toll they used to call, and he was writing a book on Nyaya. One nice incident is there. Raghunath, one of his contemporaries, you can say his friend. So both were writing the book on Nyaya, and both of them they didn't know. So Chaitanya asked, this Raghunath asks Chaitanya, how you were starting, what your idea of that Nyaya? So Gauranga says, see, like this I have written. And immediately this fellow Raghunath says, oh, then if your book comes out, no one will read my book. It will be vain attempt for me to write the book. That was sufficient. And we find he throws away the book, the writing, whatever manuscript he had written in the Ganges. Yes, then I don't want. Only Shiksha Ashtakam we find, so much scholar, everything he had read, but that much only is the teachings we find the written of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Afterwards, he actually, we know Viveka Churamani, but Chaitanya in his younger days was known as Udatta Churamani. Crest jewel of Vedanta is Vivek Churamani. He was crest jewel of arrogance. Because of his scholarly learning and everything, he had a pride. He had, yes, and he didn't, though he was born in a Brahmin family, he didn't follow all these caste restrictions and all these things. Afterwards, in 1508, he goes to Gaya to give, the ancestors their rites and all those things, the last rites we perform there. So he goes to Gaya. And when he goes to Gaya, then a change comes to him. When he was going down to the Vishnu temple, and there suddenly he gets that, you can say he goes to ecstasy, and he was falling, and then Ishwarapuri comes and catches hold of him, and then he says, yes, please initiate me. And then he was initiated into the Gopala mantra. And that changes his life. When he comes back again to Navadvip, then his mind was not at all, he didn't want to teach, he was not interested, only Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. That was going on in his mind. But he develops that, and we find that he goes to Kesav Bharati, and there he gets initiated into sannyasa. And then he gives the name Chaitanya Bharati. Chaitanya, he becomes to be known as Chaitanya. Then he goes to Puri. For some days he was in Puri, and then he goes to various other places of pilgrimage, Allahabad, Varanasi, and he came to Andhra Pradesh also. He had visited Tirupati, Tirumala, and then 10 days in Rajamundry. Ramananda Rai, the minister of Orissa government that time, Ramananda Rai, there they discuss about that Brahman, and this nice dialogue is there between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya. We find in his life. 10 days he was there. He came to Ahobilam. He had seen Mallikarjun, all these places. So we are blessed that yes, he visited this place also. And like that he went on developing. Of course, in one incident, one small incident is there is Sarvabhauma, one more teacher, he wanted to taste how is Chaitanya. So he had put some sugar in his tongue. But we find that normally if we put sugar in our tongue, that the sugar melts. But in Chaitanya's case, it flew off. It didn't melt. That was the complete, we can say, control over his senses that we find in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sarvabhauma became a disciple of his. And afterwards, as we call Gyanadhananji to our houses, and then we try to give everything. Though we don't want anything, then we will be doing Pada Puja and all those things. Guru Pranam and all we do. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was called to Sarvabhauma's house, and Sarvabhauma and his wife, they were, as we do when a representative of God comes to our house, though he doesn't want anything, we try to serve him with all the best kind of thing. Like that they were serving. And then Amog Chakravarti, when we say Amog here, then immediately mind goes to that small kid Amog Bakshi, not Amog Bakshi, Amog Chakravarti, the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma. So that fellow comes and says, oh, he didn't believe in Chaitanya, he had a lot of disrespect. Oh, what are these sadhu sannyasis? So he says, this sannyasi also takes so many things, they also eat so much. Like that he commented. And Sarvabhauma was so much devoted to Chaitanya, he immediately says, what is this? You get out, and he becomes very angry. This is not the way to behave. And Sarvabhauma leaves. But Chaitanya says to Sarvabhauma, please go. He is your son-in-law, you should not. No, I don't want such son-in-law. Let him go. Let him die. Let my daughter become widow. And afterwards we find Sarvabhauma suffering from a good disease. He gets a disease and he is suffering. There is no one to take care. Sarvabhauma is calling. Sarvabhauma is not going to take care. Father-in-law is not coming. No one is coming. Then Chaitanya goes and starts taking care of him. And then with his love, how he changed him and how he became a devotee of Chaitanya. Like that we find about Haridas also. A Muslim Haridas. Yavan Haridas they call. A saint from East Bengal. He was already a saint. He was a saint of Vaishnava tradition. And there he used to preach. But as he was a Muslim and he was preaching about Hari, Krishna and all those things, so Muslim ruler, they started beating him. But Chaitanya goes and supports him. And when Chaitanya embraces him, then that Yavan Haridas, he was 20 years elder to Chaitanya, he says, don't embrace me, don't embrace me. I am a Muslim. Don't do. You will get sin of it. No. Whatever sin I have will wash away if I can embrace you. You are so pure. Like that Chaitanya embraces Haridas. So we find so many incidents, so many disciples, and when they come in contact with Chaitanya, their lives change. Chaitanya passes away in 1533, the age of 48 years. And he went to Samadhi. How he passes away, all those details are not mentioned much. Now, as we started, that our goal is to see the light, Chaitanya's life in the light of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna says, like an elephant has two teeth, a outer one and an inner one. Outer one to protect itself, and the inner one to chew. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has two teeth. What he does with one is of that Advaita. When he is preaching for all, when he is preaching to the mass, he is preaching Dvaita, love towards God. And when he is preaching for some selected few, then he is preaching Advaita. So one inner teeth and one outer teeth. And that is the speciality. And then again they compare on Jnana and Bhakti. We find Sri Ramakrishna also says, Bhakti is very difficult to get. আমি মুক্তি দিতে কাতর নই, ভক্তি দিতে কাতর হই। I am ready to give mukti, but it's very difficult for a devotee to get bhakti. So we should pray. We always try to pray for bhakti. Ordinarily, very easily we don't get. And Sri Ramakrishna says that what is Jnana and what is Bhakti? Jnana is like when a male guest comes to the house, what happens? He is restricted to the outer chambers only. He can't go inside. But when a female guest comes, when a woman comes, he can go to the inner chamber also. So that is Bhakti. Bhakti will take you to the inner chambers. Jnana cannot lead you to the inner chambers. So that is Jnana and Bhakti. And ultimately we find that love personified. L-O-V-E, love. In Sri Ramakrishna's life you take up Chaitanya's life. With that they won over everything. Chaitanya also took up sannyasa. Sri Ramakrishna also took up sannyasa. Puri, Bharati, Shankara's tradition, both. But speciality is, if we see, Sri Ramakrishna was more refined. Means whatever little we find, we should not call defects, but a more reformed, because that time it was necessary. Name ruchi jibe daya Vaishnav seva. Name ruchi, when we have love for the divine name, jibe daya, compassion for all creatures. And Sri Ramakrishna says compassion, no compassion. Shiva Jnani Jiva Seva. Who are you to do compassion? We are very small in that respect. So try to look upon all that divine, that divinity is present in all. And then try to serve. That will give. And that is the modification in this avatar group, in Sri Ramakrishna's avatar group. And one more we find that though both have taken up sannyasa, Sri Ramakrishna stayed with his wife, respected his wife. But here we find Chaitanya totally giving up everything. When Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna says, see, don't look at him, and these are the restrictions. And when Swamiji goes to West and comes back, then Vivekananda asks, how did you manage your women disciples, your female Western disciples? Then he says, how much you have understood of Sri Ramakrishna? Do you feel Sri Ramakrishna had come only to save the male, so only to take them, give them mukti? No, he was for all. That is love personified. Sri Ramakrishna was love person. We find Chaitanya very restricted. Widows also, those who were serving him in Vrindavan, he was very restricted to them. He didn't want them to come close and serve them. But here Sri Ramakrishna talked with women disciples and gave them bhakti, gave them that ultimate. There is a small couplet which gives the total gist of Sri Chaitanya's teachings. It's of course in Bengali again. I will try to explain with my own few words. Grammo katha na shunibe, Grammo barta na kohibe, Bhalo na khaibe ar bhalo na poribe, Amani manod Krishna naam sada labe, Broje Radha Krishna seba manashe koribe. Grammo katha na shunibe, Manji matalu vindhari. Simple. Don't hear this and that. I don't know if some mistake is there in my Telugu, please pardon me. But Grammo Katha Nashimi means always try to hear good words. Then we see, Bhadran Karne Vishnu Yama Devaha, Bhadran Pashe Maksha Virya Jatraha, close. And but now another we saw that they one monkey, one ear closed, one ear open, one eye closed, one ear open. What is that? This good things we should see. Open the windows, keep the windows open. Don't be one-sided. So here, Grammo Katha na shunibe, Grammo Varta na kohibe. Don't speak bad things, don't hear bad things. When we do this satsang, holy company, HHC, holy, Hari and holy company. H is there in all the three, satsang. So we have to think that we always, again Sri Ramakrishna says, always try to be a honeybee, not a normal bee. Sit on flowers only. So even sometimes we try to keep ourselves, but coming to mutt also, hey, what happened to your family? Oh, like this, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and all those things. Not to engage ourselves in these things. Because coming here also, doing so much, changing 3 buses, coming, and then ultimately we don't get that purpose. So Grammo Katha na shunibe, Grammo Varta na kohibe. bhalo na khaibe ar bhalo na poribe. Means always think that we will go to big hotel and take manchis from paradise or big hotels. Bhalo na khaibe. Don't take good food. Always think of good food. So always we think em dinali items undi iroju prasadamlo em item undi. Adi tomato rice unte manchidi like that we have this discrimination, right? So bhalo na khaibe bhalo na poribe. Don't think about always what we eat and what we wear. Manchiga dinali manchiga eskoali ante kaadu. That is not there. So we have to feel that when we think about this thing, we become rajoguni, rajas comes. We can't become, because our goal is for sattva. We have to climb to sattva. This is not because, yes, rajas is the path. We have to climb to the terrace. We have to take the staircase. But we have to climb to the terrace. So slowly we have to ignore this food, clothing, simple living and high thinking. That is the philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna and Chaitanya. It's nice. Everything is in this simple. Bhalo na khaibe ar bhalo na poribe. Amani manod Krishna naam sada labe. Amani manod. Even in Bengal also, if these words are told now, very difficult what to speak about. Amani manod means no ego should be there. Ahankar bihina. Amani manod. Manod is manod. Human being. Amani manod Krishna naam sada labe. Always Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. So try to have that Name Ruchi, try to have Nama Sankirtana. We always, devotees will say, Maharaj, you are going to sing today, some Namavali you sing, Namavali you sing. Let us clap and sing. Enjoy. And when we clap, Sri Ramakrishna says, those sins which are sitting on our body, that those birds will fly away. একবার রাম নামে যত পাপ হরে পাপী সাধ্য নাই শত পাপ করে. Once Ram Nama if we take, then all our sins washes away. Then can we do so much sin that we call ourselves a sinner? Ramuri Nama Okasari means once we take Nam, everything, all our sins gets washed away. And if we have that faith and if we call on, so that is, we become humble. And there also they say na Trinada Vishuni Chena Darura Pisahishna. Be humble, be humble. Humility brings a lot of things. I know everything, I can do this ahankara. So we have to be humble and we have to take divine name with our full faith. Namakam Vechalu. And lastly, Broje Radha Krishna Sheba Manushe Koribe. Broje Radha. Now, we are Ramakrishna devotees. So, what is our goal? Ramakrishna Loka is our goal, right? So, there Ramakrishna will be there, Sharda Mata will be there, Swami Vivekananda will be there, brother disciples will be there, and we feel. The other day, Kandanji was telling that devotees, we all will go to Ramakrishna Loka, this Swami will be there, that Swami will be there, and then we will go and serve. And we will go and serve with our full family, means Raje Radha Krishna Sheva Manushe. Let us go and serve Ramakrishna Loka or whichever is our chosen deity, maybe Rama, maybe Krishna. Let us go there and serve them. And how to serve? Manushe Koribe, define. You have to decide in your own mind in which state we are. We have to think. We know better. We can know our mind. Others can't see our mind. If others could have seen our mind, no two people could have sat beside each other. Husband and wife relation, impossible. Because from outside we will tell, oh, very good, and andar se kab mar jayegi samjh acha. So we can't see others' mind, but we know now what is going on inside. So like that we have to imagine what is there in our mind. 4 kinds, 4 stages of bhaktas. Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhura, 5. Shanta Bhava, Bhishma. We find in Bhishma. We find in Vidura. They are serving. They don't want anything. Only for the happiness. Only for the Lord's happiness we are serving. And then we find Shanta Bhava, Dasya Bhava. Dasya Bhava is of Hanuman. Serving as a servant. I don't know which form. These all process, puja, parayana, all secondary. But we have to see which stage. Am I this kind of devotee, Shanta Bhava? Dasya Bhava? Am I that servant nature is there? I can serve Lord as you are the Guru and I am the servant. as Hanuman used to serve. And then Shanta Dasya Vatsalya. Vatsalya, like Yashoda and Krishna. What is the relation between Yashoda and Krishna? How Krishna used to treat no one child, but like that if we can. Someone comes to Sri Ramakrishna and says, I am greatly attached to my son-in-law, that grandchild. Is it wrong? No, serve him or her, seeing the divine. Many they come and ask, Swamiji, I love my daughter very much, is it wrong? No, don't expect anything. Don't feel that in your old age, that daughter or that granddaughter, she will serve you. Don't keep this expectation. And serve, be unattached, then we will be happy. So, this is Vatsalya. And then, Madhura. Madhura is Gopis of Vrindavan, we see Radha Krishna. But again, we have to, Swami Vivekananda says, don't try to practice Madhura Bhava. Because we have to be pure. That purity we don't have now in this atmosphere, in these circumstances. Many they say, Swamiji, we want to practice pranayama. No, don't practice here. Because if you want to practice pranayama, Kundalini will go up, then it will not go down. And then you have to come to dispensary. If you want to have to practice pranayama, you have to go to the Himalayas. And if you go to Himalayas, then next day your family will come and tell what you have done, Swamiji. They joined the meditation course and they have left the hut. No, we don't want to break families. Meditation is not to break families, it is to join families. So, we have to, if we want to practice pranayama and all those things, there are strict things, regulated things, food, what we think, pure thoughts. We are not so pure. We can't keep our mind always merged in the divine. We have so many samskaras. So we have to go on praying, and when those will wash away, then we can think yes. So for that, preparation is necessary. And preparation is like this. We have to go on thinking. We have to go on serving the Lord. Swamiji says, don't practice Madhura. If we think that attitude we have to develop always. I remember whenever we think of Rasa Leela and all those things, mind goes. Whenever we see a boy and a girl, our mind goes below. We think, oh, husband and wife. We don't think son and mother. We never think. That mother attitude. The other day when we went to college and we told them, mother, these girls started laughing, smiling. Because nowadays the attitude is that wife, that culture, Western culture is coming. So that motherly feeling is very difficult to express, to practice. So then, Shanta, Dasya, Vatsalya, Dasya, Madhura, Sakya, and Sakya. So these are the bhavas. We have to practice and we have to define, we have to see where we are, where we stand. And accordingly, we can think that yes, we will progress. And this teaching, so this teaching of Chaitanya gives the gist of all the things that he wants to say, his message we say now. So it's quite late now, and of course, too much thing also if we take, then it goes indigested, undigested. So better to have concentrated on one thing and try to practice that. And so we'll end by a short prayer. And we'll pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Holy Mother, to give us strength to practice all these disciplines. Hari Haraya Namaha, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Gopala Govinda Rama, Sri Madhusudana. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti, Hari Om Datsat, Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamasti.